You know, it's a conversation I have surprisingly often in my practice. A gentleman, usually in his late 60s or 70s, comes in, looking a bit defeated. He tells me he's having trouble getting or keeping an erection, and it's causing him a lot of worry, maybe even strain in his relationship. He's tried things, maybe medication, but the problem persists, and he can't figure out why. It's a painful reality for so many men as they get older, that feeling of your body not responding the way it used to. The hit to your confidence, the fear of disappointing your partner or yourself. There's this unspoken pressure to maintain sexual vitality. And when it starts to slip, it can feel like a loss of a fundamental part of yourself. What often surprises these men is when we start talking about something deeply personal, something they might not even think is relevant to their solo habits. Yes, I'm talking about masturbation. It's a natural, healthy part of life for many men, regardless of age. But here's the secret, or perhaps the surprising truth: there's a very specific, common mistake many men make during masturbation that can, over time, silently undermine their ability to get and maintain an erection during partnered sex. It's a conditioning issue, a mismatch between the kind of stimulation they're teaching their body and brain to expect, and the kind of stimulation they receive from a partner. In this video, as someone who deals with men's most intimate health issues regularly, I'm going to pull back the curtain on this often overlooked problem. We'll look at exactly what this mistake is, why it's so impactful, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Watch to the very end, because what I share could completely change how you understand and approach this, and perhaps unlock solutions you didn't think were possible. Let's dive right into this specific, crucial mistake I see so often. It primarily revolves around how a man masturbates, not necessarily the act itself. The mistake is developing a pattern of masturbation that involves very intense, rapid, and often narrowly focused stimulation, using a tight grip or certain techniques that don't resemble partnered sex at all. Think about it. For years, maybe decades, a man gets used to a certain speed, a certain pressure, focusing stimulation on a very specific part of his penis, often the glans or shaft, to reach orgasm as quickly and reliably as possible. This becomes his go-to method. It's efficient. It works for him when he's by himself, and it feels good. So why wouldn't he stick with it? The problem isn't that it feels good. The problem is what it's teaching his body, and, more significantly, his brain. When you repeatedly expose your system to this high-intensity, focused stimulation, your nervous system adapts. It's like needing to turn the volume up higher and higher on the radio to hear it over background noise. Your nerves become less sensitive to weaker signals. During partnered sex, the stimulation is inherently different. There's friction, yes, but also often less direct pressure on the shaft. More varied sensations from vaginal or anal walls, changes in speed and rhythm that aren't entirely within your control, and a whole layer of emotional and physical connection that's separate from the purely physical act of solo stimulation. If your brain has been conditioned to require that specific, high-octane jolt of stimulation you get from a tight grip or rapid, focused strokes, it starts to view the different, often less intense, or more diffuse stimulation from a partner as insufficient. It's like trying to unlock a door with the wrong key. Your penis might be perfectly capable, the blood flow might be fine, but your brain, the central command center for arousal and erections, isn't getting the signal it's been trained to respond to. It's been hardwired for a different kind of input. This conditioning isn't about willpower. It's a neurological adaptation. Your brain learns. If you consistently reward your brain with intense pleasure via a specific, artificial method, it prioritizes that pathway when you then engage in partnered sex, which provides a different, perhaps less intense stimulus than what the brain is now expecting or requiring to trigger a full erection response. The signal isn't strong enough. The brain might not send the necessary signals down the spinal cord to relax the muscles in the penis and allow blood to flow in efficiently. Or if it does, the erection might not be as firm or long-lasting as needed. This is the silent killer aspect. It's not talked about. It develops gradually, and men don't connect their private habits to their performance issues with a partner. They often assume it's age or a health problem and overlook this fundamental conditioning. Understanding this mistake is the first step. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about recognizing a common pitfall that develops from a natural behavior. The good news is that because it's a learned behavior, it can often be unlearned and retrained. It requires conscious effort and patience, but the potential payoff is significant, reclaiming natural, responsive erectile function during intimacy. It involves deliberately changing the masturbation technique to more closely mimic partnered sex, effectively resetting the brain's expectations and sensitivity. This retraining is key to bridging the gap between what your body responds to when you're alone and what it responds to when you're with a partner. It's about teaching your brain that different, perhaps slower, more varied stimulation is also a valid pathway to arousal and satisfaction, one that aligns better with intimate experiences. It's less about the destination, orgasm, and more about the journey of building arousal in a way that translates to partnered encounters. So, having understood what the mistake is, the over-reliance on intense, specific, and often unrealistic solo stimulation, let's talk about how to correct it and cultivate habits that actually support, rather than hinder, your ability to get hard with a partner. It's not about deprivation, it's about re-education. The goal is to diversify your experience and sensitivity. The first step in correcting this is to consciously slow down and ease up. If you're used to a tight grip or rapid strokes, try using a much looser grip. Imagine you're holding something delicate. Explore different pressures, sometimes even just the flat of your hand, or focusing on different parts of the penis, the shaft, the base, even the perineum area can introduce varied sensations. The goal is to build arousal gradually, rather than going straight for maximum intensity. This mirrors the natural progression of intimacy with a partner, where arousal builds through foreplay, kissing, touching, not just immediate, intense genital stimulation. By practicing this slower, gentler approach when you're alone, you're training your brain to respond to lower levels of stimulation and to enjoy the process of building arousal, making it easier to get and stay hard during partnered sex. Another critical technique involves lubrication. Many men don't use lubricant when masturbating, or if they do, they use very little. During partnered sex, there's natural lubrication, or you can add artificial lube, which changes the friction and sensation considerably compared to dry hand-on-skin or hand-through pubic hair friction. By consistently using a good quality lubricant when you masturbate, you simulate the slickness and glide of partnered sex. This further helps to reduce that high friction, intense sensation that the brain gets conditioned to. It forces you to rely on other factors for arousal, including mental engagement and the feel of different pressures, rather than just the raw intensity of friction. Choose a water-based lubricant that feels comfortable and similar to natural wetness. Experiment with different amounts. This might feel less intensely stimulating at first. And that's exactly the point. You are deliberately dialing down the artificial intensity to recalibrate your sensitivity. Varying your technique is also essential. Avoid repeating the exact same motion and speed every single time. Try different speeds, different pressures, different grips from very loose to slightly firmer. But avoid the death grip. Explore different areas of your penis and the surrounding region. Spend time just holding your penis, feeling the sensitivity without any stroking. Use both hands, if that feels comfortable, mimicking how a partner might touch you. The more variety you introduce into your solo practice, the less your brain becomes fixated on one specific, narrow type of stimulation. This makes you more responsive to the diverse and unpredictable sensations of partnered sex. It's like cross-training for your nervous system, making it more versatile and adaptable. Think about the role of fantasy, too. While visual stimulation can be a part of arousal, relying solely on highly graphic or specific visual media during masturbation can also contribute to this conditioning problem. The brain can become trained to require those specific visual cues alongside the physical stimulation. Try incorporating fantasy during masturbation that aligns more with the intimacy you desire with your partner. Focus on the emotional connection, the touch, the shared experience, alongside the physical sensations. This helps to connect your arousal response to broader, more realistic scenarios, rather than narrow, media-driven ones. It's about integrating the mental and emotional aspects of arousal, which are crucial in partnered sex, into your solo practice. Consistency in applying these new techniques is key. It's not a switch you flip. It's a process of retraining. Be patient with yourself. The first few times you try masturbating slower, looser, and with lube, it might feel awkward or even less satisfying initially. Your brain is still expecting the old stimulus, but stick with it. Over time, you'll start to find pleasure in this different kind of stimulation. You're essentially teaching your brain that slower, more varied, and lubricated sensation is also a valid and enjoyable pathway to arousal and orgasm. This new learning will start to translate to your experiences with a partner, making it easier for your body to respond to the stimulation you receive during intimacy. This process of retraining takes time and deliberate practice, but it addresses the root of the problem by changing the learned response pattern. Now, pulling all of this together, what we've been discussing isn't about stopping a natural behavior like masturbation, but rather about refining how you do it. It's about recognizing that a common, often unconscious habit, the reliance on high-intensity, specific solo stimulation, can create a mismatch in what your brain and body are conditioned to expect for arousal versus the reality of partnered sexual activity. This mismatch is a significant, yet often overlooked, contributor to erectile difficulties, especially as men get older. The steps we've talked about, consciously slowing down, using a looser grip, incorporating lubricant consistently, varying your technique, and integrating broader fantasies, are all designed to recalibrate your system. They aim to break the conditioned response to only react strongly to one specific type of intense stimulation and instead teach your brain and nerves to become more sensitive and responsive to the kind of varied, less intense, and more natural stimulation that occurs during intimacy with a partner. This is not a quick fix. It requires patience and consistent practice. You are essentially retraining your nervous system and your psychological response over time. Think of it like learning a new skill. When you first try to play a musical instrument, it feels awkward and doesn't sound right. But with practice, your muscles learn. Your brain creates new pathways. And eventually, it becomes natural and enjoyable. Retraining your sexual response works in a similar way. By deliberately choosing techniques that mimic partnered sex when you're alone, you're building those new pathways, making your body and brain more attuned to the nuances of intimacy. It's also important to remember that while this specific masturbation mistake is a common culprit, erectile difficulties can have other causes too. Underlying health conditions like diabetes, heart disease, obesity, hormonal imbalances, or side effects from medications can all play a role. Stress, anxiety, and relationship issues can also significantly impact sexual function. If you implement these changes to your solo habits and still experience difficulties, it is absolutely crucial to speak with a doctor or a specialist. They can conduct a thorough evaluation to rule out or address any underlying medical issues. This conversation is about addressing one specific, often hidden, factor, but it's part of a broader picture of maintaining your sexual health as you age. However, for many men, addressing this conditioning issue can make a world of difference. I've seen it time and again in my practice. Gentlemen who were frustrated and losing hope have found that by simply changing how they engage in solo activity, their erectile function with their partner has significantly improved. It restores confidence, reduces anxiety surrounding intimacy, and strengthens relationships. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge and practical steps to take control of your sexual well-being. Remember, small changes can make a big difference in your health and happiness, including your sexual health. Addressing this specific habit is one such change that can have a profound positive impact. Don't feel embarrassed or alone if you've fallen into this pattern. It's incredibly common. The important thing is that you're now aware of it and have concrete steps you can take to change things for the better. Be patient with yourself throughout this process of retraining. There might be setbacks, but keep at it. The journey toward improved sexual function and more fulfilling intimacy is worth the effort. I truly hope this conversation has been enlightening for you. It's a sensitive topic, but an important one to discuss openly. If you've experienced anything like this, or if you have questions about what I've discussed, please share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Your perspective and questions can be incredibly helpful to others who might be going through something similar. If you found this video valuable and helpful, giving it a thumbs up tells YouTube that this information is important and helps more men find it. And please, subscribe to my channel for more straightforward, honest conversations about men's health and well-being as we navigate these later years. We cover everything from staying active and eating well to managing health conditions and, yes, maintaining sexual vitality. Remember, your best years are still ahead, and living your best life at every age includes maintaining your health, confidence, and intimate connections. Take these steps, be patient with yourself, and keep living your life to the fullest. You deserve it.